What's going on, guys? We're continuing on the water-cooled Halo Edition Xbox One. So we've got some stuff cut out here for the temperature display. I kind of followed the underside to cut out the window. See that angle here? Obviously still needs to be cleaned up, but that should be right over here. Be able to see your hard drive and whatnot, depending on what kind of window we put in there. Now the next thing we need to cut out, we also cut this out here. And I did try a paint on this, even though I don't like it. It's not dark enough. We're going to redo that. But next thing we need to cut out is the square here for our reservoir. And before we do that, I'm going to use the hole that's already in here. You can see, froze for a second. I just need to drill another hole on this side so that this can be mounted here. And this was just a random bracket I found from, I believe it was a fan controller that goes into like a DVD drive slot on a PC. So we're going to connect that here, and then this will be the shelf to hold our reservoir. And once we have this generally in place, we'll go ahead and get this cut out. And it'll be a lot easier to cut that out first, and then if we need to, we can kind of move this around where we need to fit perfectly in that window. A little easier than doing it the other way around and permanently mounting this and then trying to nail that opening. So anyway, let's drill that out. We can do this. Finish getting this cut out because I want this to be ready to be painted. Once that stuff's in place, we can also make a little bracket for this here and start actually getting our tubing and whatnot in place. I have pretty much decided on using this pump here. It will probably be in, hopefully this side we can get it to work so that we can remove this one. I'm hoping not to remove all of them. Obviously there was one back here. We're going to use that. And then this one in the corner, I'm hoping we can at least keep that one. Otherwise, we do still have several other points here that's going to hold everything in place, so I'm just not that worried about it. Now, it would be maybe slightly different if this system was meant to go upright and horizontal, but since this is how it's going to be, nothing's really going to fall out. Those few screws are going to hold the disk drive in place and the hard drive mount, and everything else will be attached to one another. So, got it set on top of here. It obviously needs to clip down a little bit further. This side's down a little bit. I'm just going to test fit. Perfect. So even with, we got just enough clearance there for a fitting. Fitting's not going to be any wider than the plug. And as I said, this will be down just a hair more. And we still got clearance on the bottom where the bottom port is. That is just absolutely perfect. And with the height that this is up, obviously clearing the motherboard, as well as there is at least this plug-in here and this cap that's going to be right underneath there. That's plenty of clearance there. We don't have to worry about it smashing into the wiring harness there or anything like that. So that is that's going to be fantastic. And it is very close to our temperature display here. However, we'll go ahead and throw the dummy one on there. Here it is. Boom, just like that. And the tubing will be in front of it, shouldn't be blocking it at all. This is going to go right to our radiator. And then obviously this is our fill port here. Now there is something else I want to cut out on this shell. I was hoping for the rest of this we'd kind of leave the motherboard out of this as we test fit other things. We don't want to risk damaging anything, but I do need to put our hard drive mount with our flow meter on it right where it needs to go, and we want to get that mounted so that it's, or at least just stuck in place so we know exactly where it needs to be mounted, to be directly underneath here. And then the extra port on the right side, I want to actually get a hole cut here so we can have a drain port on the bottom here. That way you can fill it up here, and then it's easier to drain by opening this. You should be able to kind of tilt it, and most of the fluid should want to come out that side. So we're going to get that lined up and get a hole cut here, and then we can actually finish cleaning up these edges. This one should be good. This one we don't got to worry about. It's got its own trim piece around it. And then we can get this all completely sanded off, get these little chrome stickers off of here, and just get it nice and prepped for paint, which is going to hopefully be more closer to this silver. I was hoping this would be darker. This was that hammered metal paint, and the cap is way darker than it actually comes out. But this is closer to the color I want on this side, and then this one I want to be darker, as we've seen on our faceplate here. Lighter silver, darker. Okay, so some stuff has happened since the last time. Went back and finished cleaning off this. Still a little bit here and there I'll get when I do some hand sanding. This piece is pretty clean. This one is as clean as it needs to be to hold the temperature display. I found a grommet that's going to work perfect for that O, just to make it a little nicer, and we'll be able to fit tubing right through there. I had a piece of tubing somewhere. There you go. So plenty of room here, even with it stretched around the barb here. So we'll just leave, when we're putting it together, excess tubing sticking out here, and then when it's all together we'll just cut it down to size to slide this on in the last few pieces. And then on the side here, keep in mind it's not totally lined up yet because I'm not going to clip this back together every time, but we've got another grommet over here, and I'm probably going to cut the ends of these triangles off just a little bit. And if we pull that open, you'll see the barb from the flow meter. It's kind of hard to see there, but yeah, basically right here. So what we're going to do is have this flow meter obviously solidly in place, and it'll have something like this on the end of it, but shorter. And obviously we can't have that sticking out the side while we're trying to put all this stuff together and line everything else up. This needs to drop straight down. So we'll have it on the inside, not quite reaching out, and then we'll just have a second one that's shorter that we can just push in through here and tighten it in place and just put a plug on the end of it, and that'll just be a nice little drain port. The other option, I guess, would be kind of like on the PS3, where I just finished cutting the bottom half of this out, and then just have the finishing piece already on the flow meter. So we put this on, it just kind of sits over top. But I think we'll try it this way for now. I like how clean it looks there. Also got a bunch of screws and mounting hardware that we're going to need to finish this up here. So for one, I needed the couple extra screws here, because this needs 6 for this plate. And I know there's a lot of stuff cut out here, but I was fine with it because this is a solid, 1/8 inch thick piece of aluminum. It's not going to flex at all when this is screwed in place. It adds a lot of strength here. And then we also got some more screws and brackets. I'm going to try using these here to screw into the bottom of the flow meter. And we will, so this will be up a little bit, but I think we're going to get rid of this piece here and just mount it to that lower piece, so it'll lower it just a tiny bit, and keep this piece to put over here for our hard drive. So yeah, something like that. This will be attached to those holes, and the bottom will be attached to there. Now unfortunately the pump top was supposed to be here today, which really stinks that it did not show up. It's kind of the last thing I need to really get the main chunk of stuff done, besides paint and finishing things. But basically, this here, we've got another one of these that we're going to use, which I was going to use for the pump up front, but I think we're actually going to use this, mount it right here, and throw one of these radiators right here with all that extra real estate there. And the pump, I still want to use that smaller one, I think, and there's plenty of room here, so we can basically have it go straight into the pump, straight into the flow meter. And then here it's going to have to go, we're going to need a bunch more of these style things, kind of go down like that. That way it's going underneath this tube. And then that'll just kind of loop around, probably this way, into that front radiator block, and then from the block straight up out the top here, and the outside stuff. But I still want to wait for that pump top to come in just to make sure what's going on over here, just in case we do have to go back and put, one of these pumps here. The problem with this one being down here is no matter how low we put it, it is very low, but even with that really slim fan, it's gonna hit this corner right here. So, I'm sure I could modify this or the fan or something like that, but I'd rather use the smaller sized pump and just have that extra space here. Might even be able to put both of these in here, who knows, we'll see. I should also have what I need to go ahead and mount our fan and radiator, even though we're not done painting that stuff. We're going to go ahead and do that so we can test our clearances a little bit better. So we can see what we were saying about the pump. This is with it literally laying on nothing, and obviously we would want it on some sort of mount, so it would be a little bit higher. And this isn't even clicked down quite all the way yet, and it's like just about to touch the pump, so that's why I wouldn't want that there. Doesn't quite clear the fan, and putting a radiator there I know would be better along that side, but that's just with the barbs the way they are on this one. If they were at a 90 it'd be a lot easier and we could probably do that, but it's just going to be so cramped there and we got all this empty space up front. So yeah, it's still going to be mostly underneath the fan, so it's definitely going to get some airflow. So I want to put it back here and obviously still go with the smaller size pump. That is the pump we had planned on putting in this loop, and why we agreed upon a certain price anyway. That would be a slight upgrade, that one there. This one will be not the quietest one, but it's definitely going to move some fluid, and it is more of an industrial pump, the 3600 series, so it's meant to last. You can see here, just basic screws there. We got some rubber washers in between, a couple other washers just to make sure the blades don't hit that part of the aluminum there, and then another gasket in between the radiator and there. Now this is all one piece, and then we can just remove the plate itself to take that off, even though we're still got to take this stuff off to finish painting. The grill off, I just need to take this piece out here, and then it's time to sand this whole thing, get it nice and cleaned up, nice and smooth. We also need to get probably a little razor blade and just pop these out. They should be like kind of like little stickers almost. And we're just going to take all those out, make sure it's all clean, paint over that. And in the meantime, hopefully I could pick up a good solid color to finish this one off, a darker gray, and maybe even a better blue accent color. So I got to get that all taken care of, get that prepped for our final coats of paint. And while I wait for that pump top so I can finish the loop, and we can actually leak test all that and get this all ready for the final assembly, we're going to go ahead and finish cleaning off the little spots here, and of course the rest of that thermal paste. To finish some custom little brackets for these things, the radiator, and I'll also do some wiring, take care of that, get the temperature display wired into our hard drive, get some LEDs wired into the DVD drive, make our custom fan cable for the pump and fan, and then we should pick up right there with all that stuff done, get it ready for a leak test and final assembly. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this project so far, but please don't like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you.